This concept is so important. If I could just download any idea into my fellow law enforcement officers' brains, this is what it would be. Today, we're going to talk about something very important in law enforcement and in life: your self confidence, your leadership, your balance as a law enforcement officer, how you make decisions. Almost all day long, we are asking ourselves a constant question: how do I want to be? What kind of person am I? What kind of decisions should I make? This is huge. This part of your personality has a huge impact on several law enforcement job skills: your officer presence, resolving conflict, your teamwork and collaboration, and of course, leadership. It's also a huge contributing factor for those who wind up going viral on YouTube in a bad way, and those who spend way too much time in internal affairs. So, I want to cover this philosophical concept that'll help you understand what you should be aiming for in general, day in and day out. This idea is best understood as balance, and it has been articulated in a lot of different ways for over a couple thousand years. So, the ancient temple of Delphi, they had an inscription over the entrance, and the inscription read, "Nothing in excess." This was one of the original profound philosophical ideas of the ancient world. It held true then, and it held true now. Socrates said, "A person must know how to choose the mean and avoid the extremes on either side as far as possible." Aristotle gave us a different version. It's known as the golden mean. He said, "Virtue is the golden mean between two vices, the one of excess and the other of deficiency, balance." This is where ancient Stoic wisdom distinguishes itself from modern thinking. These days, we tend to see everything in terms of extreme. We think in terms of opposites, and it causes us a lot of problems. We think good or bad, right or wrong, strong or weak, brave or cowardly. Because of that, we set our goals to pursue what we think is good and avoid or run away from what we think is bad. The problem is we are often too successful. We do too good of a job. We push so hard in one direction that we blow right past the target and end up with a different problem. We escape one vice just to land right in the clutches of another one because of our lack of understanding of balance. We overshoot. We do too much. We become our own worst enemies. In reality, character, behavior, decision making, mindset do not exist on opposite ends of a line. They are not on opposite ends of a spectrum. The most effective version of each characteristic is actually in the middle. It has a vice on each side. I'm going to lay these out for you. Think about courage. Courage is a virtue. What's on the left side of that? What's the lack of it? It's cowardice. What's on the right side of that? What's too much courage? We might call that recklessness. See, we're not aiming for one end, we're aiming for the middle. Let's talk about being assertive. What's the lack of being assertive? Being too passive. What's too much assertiveness? Being aggressive, overbearing. We want to be productive. That's something we aim for. What's the lack of that? Laziness. What's too much productivity? Being a workaholic, burning out. Think about your temperament, your emotional control, being calm. What's the lack of that? You're passionless, apathetic, non existent, not present. What's the other side? What's too much of that? Anger, rage, highly emotional. See, every time it's in the middle. Let's talk about leadership. You want to be a good, strong leader. What's the lack of that? All right. Being an absent supervisor, ignoring your responsibilities as a supervisor. What's too much of that? Being a micromanager, being over the top. You want to aim for the middle. You just want to be present and involved. This pattern shows up everywhere. There are very few, if any, positive traits that do not become a problem when you take them too far or when you have too little of them. You can try this for yourself. Take any positive job skill or attribute. Now identify what vices live on either side of them. Consider what is too little of that positive thing, what's too much of that positive thing. I want you to try to do this with driving in a code, emergency, or pursuit capacity. What's too little? What's too much? How about use of force? You can do this. A good use of force. What's too little? What's too much? Report writing, community relations, proactive policing. These are all common things that can either be not paid enough attention to or way overdone. With a little thought, you should be able to figure out what's on either side of each positive attribute or concept. What does it look like? What does too little of it look like? What does too much of it look like? What are the risks and problems associated with not having balance in these areas? Now that you understand the concept, let's apply it to ourselves in our roles as law enforcement officers. Law enforcement officers need confidence. That is not optional. It is one of the few professions where you're actively evaluated on it during your training. A lack of confidence will get people hurt, and it'll get officers removed from the job. We've all seen what happens when a timid officer tries to handle a tense situation. But the other side of it is just as dangerous. Too much confidence turns into arrogance and entitlement. It leads to overestimating your abilities and underestimating the risk. It makes you harder to coach, harder to correct, and hard to lead. And you believe you can do no wrong, you stop learning, you stop adapting, and you start justifying mistakes instead of trying to fix them. This is where careers start to quietly fall apart. Confidence is necessary, but overconfidence is a liability. When you evaluate yourself, this is where you should focus, not on being as confident as humanly possible, but on being appropriately confident. You should trust yourself. You should like who you are. You should carry yourself with certainty. But there is a line, and it matters. If you're lacking confidence and a good self image, you should try to build it. Use positive self talk and put yourself in situations where you can prove to yourself that you are capable. Stack up the small wins and let them compound. Give yourself the evidence so that you believe in yourself. If you are too far in the other direction, you need to bring it down a notch, not by tearing yourself apart, but by introducing humility. Do things that you're not good at. Listen to criticism without immediately rejecting it, and study people who are far ahead of you in whatever endeavor you're doing so you can see how much room there is to grow. The goal is not to make you feel worse about yourself. It is to bring you back to a healthy range, to a place where your confidence is where it should be. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it this way: all vices are at odds with nature, and all virtues are in accordance with nature. Moderation, therefore, is a virtue because excess and deficiency distort one's nature. If you translate that into plain modern terms, he is pointing out something we should all recognize, a pattern most of us see all the time. He's saying that reality rewards balance and punishes imbalance. When you push too far in either direction, things start to break. Your job is to find the middle ground in how you think, how you act, and how you carry yourself. Until the next video, work on this. Find your balance. Identify the virtues and the vices on either side of it. Good luck, and as always, be safe out there.